Give me 1 second. Hello. There we are. Thank you. We are live. Give me 1 second while I share the link to my social media. Nope. Hit the wrong thing. And I'll get started. So please bear with me for just a moment. Am I live? It says I'm live, but I'm not seeing it on the app. There it is. There it is. So let's go ahead and share this to Twitter so people know I'm live. And I'll go ahead and get started. Welcome to Bree's Toy Talk Live. This is my Thursday morning live show where I talk about toys. I talk about toy news and rumors. And then I have some fun topics. I talk about the toys in my collection. What have I been playing with recently? What am I looking for? You know, where am I as a collector? Things like that. So let me go ahead and pull up my production sheet so I know what we're talking about. Get this out of the way. All right. So let's start off with what have I been playing with recently. I've been getting a lot of Marvel toys, Spider-Man and X-Men toys from the new, the current 4-inch line that is popping up in stores. I don't know what it's officially called. I think it's just Marvel 4-inch, but I'm not sure. I am on the fence about the Thanos figure because it looks like Thanos from the comics, which is what I want. I do not want a Thanos from the movie. I don't want toys from the MCU at all. I only want toys from the movie or from the comics. But the Thanos figure in the 4-inch line is to scale with the other 4-inch figures, but he's not very menacing to like 6-inch figures. I guess he's probably to scale with 3 3/4-inch figures too, but he's just not a very menacing toy. So I'm on the fence whether or not I'm going to buy that toy or not. But I am going to pick up a few more of these 4-inch toys because I like them. I think it's a good, it's a cheap entry level toy line to get into. Not like the Marvel Legends, which are getting ridiculously expensive. I think they're like up to $27 now, which is outrageous. But I'm going to keep my eye on the toy line and see how it develops. I've also been looking at the TMNT Mutant Mayhem line. There are 3 or 4 figures currently out that have my attention. I do not remember their names. I will not watch the movie because I do not like the animation style and I'm not a fan of cartoons anyways. But I think some of the toys look cool. The turtles look okay. Don't get me wrong. The turtles look fine. They look like good starter turtles. If you're a kid and you just want to get some Ninja Turtles, or, you know, you're a young collector just starting out and this is a good, inexpensive way to get yourself some of the 4 turtles. The Mutant Mayhem turtles look good. They do. I'm not buying them because I already have plenty of turtles. I've been collecting turtles forever. And I don't need another Leonardo. Not a basic Leonardo. If I'm going to buy a Leonardo, I want him in a spacesuit or, you know, a cheerleading outfit or, you know, something fun from the 90s, you know, maybe like, I don't know, just something random. I am still looking at some generation. I'm working on filling out my Generation 2 Transformers toy line. I keep saying this pretty much every episode. There's about 20 G2 toys missing from my collection. I don't want the whole line, the whole product line, but there's about 20 toys from the product line that I do want that I don't have. Because my G2 collection is only like 5 or 6 toys at the moment. I do want some of the Cyber Jets and the Decepticon Jets. I do want some of the accelerators. I want mostly what I want are the G2 exclusives. I don't really want the G1 repaints or reissues that were sold under the G2 line, except maybe the Combaticons. And the only reason why I would get the Combaticons is because I did buy the G2 aerial bots and the G2 Constructicons, and that was just a price thing because I could get a full set of Devastator Generation 2 for way less money than I could piece together the set. The G1 toys because they're way more expensive. Now, that's not to say the Combaticons especially are a little pricey on their own. So I might skip the G2 Combaticons and get the Ruination Combaticons from Robots in Disguise because they're a little bit less expensive. But I like the G2 style of the Combaticons the most. So those are probably the recolors I want. And then maybe some more of the Dinobots because I do have G2 Grimlock. But I don't want the G2 Jazz or Inferno or Starscream or maybe Ramjet just because he's purple. And maybe Sideswipe because that black Lamborghini just looks fucking dope. So I might get the Sideswipe. I don't know. But most of the G2 toys I want are going to be the exclusives. But I don't even want all of them. I don't want the auto changers or the auto rollers or whatever the fuck they're called. I don't necessarily want all of the laser ones, the laser cycles, the laser rods. But I do want like at least one laser cycle and maybe one or two laser rods. And I don't need the GoBots because I already have the RID Spy Changers. They're the exact same toys. They're just different paint jobs. I don't need that. I am still looking for obscure sci-fi figures from the 70s through the 90s. I've been specifically searching eBay 70s. Mostly what comes up is Star Wars. So I'm starting to wonder if there were sci-fi themed action figures in the 70s, and if they are, maybe they're just not showing up on eBay, or maybe they're not showing up in my price parameters because they might be too expensive. I don't know. And to that end, I am still considering getting some more vintage Star Trek toys, and maybe some Planet of the Apes, because I thought the Planet of the Apes toys looked cool, but I think those are 60s, and I have not. When I do my search on eBay, I have not selected toys from the 60s yet. Because I imagine those are probably too expensive. And I don't know any toys from the 60s other than maybe Planet of the Apes and maybe the 12-inch G.I. Joe, which I'm not interested in, or Action Man or any of that. I'm not interested in the 12-inch action figures. It's one of the same reasons why I don't buy Mego action figures. I don't like that scale. I don't like that style. So that's all I have for what I'm looking for, what I've been buying. But I do have a lot of news articles to go through, so let's get started. This first one comes from Toy News International, and they are reporting that you can get Masters of the Universe, Masterverse, Manny Faces, Shadow Weaver, and Sorceress at $5 each from fivebelow.com. So that's interesting because those are the Masterverse toys are fairly expensive compared to some of the other Masters of the Universe toys on the market right now. So to get them for $5, that's a pretty good deal. So you can go ahead and check that out. Toy Arc is previewing a DC versus Vampires Nightwing DC Multiverse toy. It's Nightwing as a vampire. And I'm not a fan of Nightwing at all, but this vampire toy I might actually buy, and it looks like it will be a Walmart exclusive. But no more information is being reported at this point. This comes from toyarc.com. Also from toyarc.com, they're reporting that new Contra action figures are included with Contra Operation Galuga Ultimate Edition. It looks like they are 4-inch action figures from the picture, but they could be 6-inch. I can't really tell. So let's scroll through this and see what it says. The upcoming game is produced by Way Forward, blah, blah, blah. It will include figures of Bill Reiser and Lance Bean. And these are separate from the NECA toys that are coming. I didn't know NECA was doing Double Dragon toys, but or not Double Dragon, Contra. Sorry, I didn't know they were doing Contra toys. Although now that I do know they are, that's on my radar. And it looks like it will also include a CD soundtrack and a whole bunch of feelers and cool stuff. But it's going to be pricey. It's coming in at $175. It's my stupid ringtone. I don't know. This looks like it could be cool. Just looking at the figures, they look pretty interesting. I'm not sure which Contra. I guess they're from this new upcoming Contra video game, so they don't necessarily look like characters from previous Contra games. But I don't know. I'm not current on my Contra lore. And also coming from Toy Arc, they are reporting that they're 3 new figures, DC Multiverse Classic Batman, Aquaman, and Green Lantern. Just looking at them, these look like early, like I would say Golden Age, maybe early Silver Age era figures. Let's see if it says specifically. It just says each feature a classic inspired look and come with extras, blah, blah, blah. And they're $30 a piece, which is not too terrible, but still pricey. The Batman looks cool. I wish I could show you the picture. I don't know if I could do that. Let me see if I can show you the picture. So I'm going to just screen cap this real quick. The Batman looks cool. Let me see if I can put this into the chat. It is not going to let me put it into the chat. Okay, so I can't show you the picture, but the Batman looks cool. You can Google it. It's the gray Batman with the blue cape. So I like that style of Batman. That's my preferred style of Batman. I do not have a Batman action figure in that style. So I might actually be interested in that toy. Aquaman, I could give a fuck about. And I already have a Hal Jordan Green Lantern, so I don't need another one. And finally, my last article coming from Toy Arc, it says more McFarlane movie maniacs are coming from NBC Universal Properties. So let's see what we have here. It says that we're getting Blues Brothers, 40-Year-Old Virgin, and The Big Lebowski. I think I've already reported on this, actually. I think I talked about this last week, so let's move on. Action Figure Insider says the Lego Group has announced that they will have new Disney Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs inspired figures inspired by the animated film. It looks like you've got the hut, you've got the wishing well, you've got the glass case, the forest, you got the individual dwarfs and Snow White herself. You got the, I think that's the prince. I do not see the witch in this picture. Oh, maybe that's the witch hiding behind the tree. Okay, so it looks like a pretty good set. However, it's going to be pricey, I believe. I don't see a price, but this looks like it's going to be a very expensive set. Let's see if there's a price. There's no price. Okay, so if you're into Legos, that's a set. I'm not that big on Legos, but that's a set I would actually consider buying because I love Snow White. Also coming from Action Figure Insider, they are reporting a new company is being formed called Syndicate Collectibles. So according to the press release, Syndicate Collectibles is a venture between Toink Toys and Jerry Macaluso, who is, according to the press release, a esteemed figure in the world of collectible design, blah, blah, blah. This joint venture marks a fusion of retail prowess and creative experts, blah, blah, blah. Their website and store is going to launch February 19th, so that's already passed. That was this week. So that should be available to browse. So I don't know. It looks like they've got... It looks like the list of properties that they're interested in. Rocky Kiss the band, Army of Darkness, Bloodsport, Poltergeist, Dragon's Lair, Day of the Dead, Killer Clowns from Outer Space, that interests me. True Romance, Pumpkinhead, that interests me. Ronnie James Dio, Ghoulies 2, Double Dragon, that also interests me. God damn it. Stupid scammers, leave me alone. I need to probably turn my phone off. So anyways, this looks like a new toy company. We'll have to wait and see what they actually bring to the table. And also from Action Figure Insider, they are reporting DC and Marvel are presenting it says the greatest team-ups of all time. It is an omnibus coming summer of 2024. 2 massive volumes collecting the universe-bending comic book crossovers between the greatest characters in pop culture, blah, blah, blah. So it looks like this omnibus will be bringing back the Amalgam Comics Marvel versus DC stories from the 90s, which is really fucking cool. Because those individual books are a pain in the ass to try to track down. But this looks like it's going to be cool. But I imagine this is going to be pricey. Let's see if I can find a price tag. I'm not seeing a price anywhere. It's coming out this summer. It's an omnibus, so I expect about $70 plus per volume. I'm not seeing a price tag, but it's not gonna be cheap. But this is a good way to collect all the different stories from that crossover. That it's been way too long since they've revisited that crossover. They need to do a movie series. That should replace the MCU. Honestly, that should be the next phase for both companies. Get on it, guys. All right. Coming from Cybertron.com, they are reporting that there will be an official Transforming Ninja Turtles party wagon from Hasbro. It looks like the original party wagon from the 80s, but it's going to transform into presumably a robot. When is this coming out? I don't see. I definitely don't see a price. I'm looking to see when is this coming out. It doesn't say. All right. Well, anyways, it looks like that's coming, so that's pretty cool. Also from Cybertron.com, the new studio series will feature Bayverse Constructicons and Studio Series 86 Constructicons. Am I reading that right? And then it also says we're getting an Age of Extinction Optimus Prime, which, Jesus Christ, do we need another goddamn Optimus Prime? It's the same fucking toy in a different box. Holy shit. And also from Cybertron.com, it says the first listing for Hasbro's Transformers Hot Wheels toys are up. So, it looks like these will be officially licensed Hasbro. The Hot Wheels are from Mattel, but these are Transformers. It looks like it's a box set that will, or no, not a box set. What is this? No, it is. It's a box set that will cost $98. Holy Christ. 24 pieces. It looks like just random vehicles from that have been featured as Transformers, I guess. It only lists the vehicles. It doesn't specify the Transformer that corresponds to the vehicle, so I guess you have to just know who they are, which is bad reporting, guys. Very bad reporting. All right, moving on. This one is going to lean into a topic later on in the stream, but Lego's Avengers Tower set is on Amazon, and this motherfucker is $500. It features over 5,000 pieces and 31 minifigures. That's ridiculously insane. And this right here is the reason I don't buy Lego shit. Like everything Lego, everything is 2 to 3 times more expensive than it should be. But that's neither here nor there. All right, so that's all I have for news and rumors. Some pretty cool stuff coming up. So let's go ahead and get into the Forgotten Toy line. This week's Forgotten Toy line is Centurions. So I recently discovered Centurions through eBay and YouTube. It looks like there was an animated series that ran for 2 seasons in the mid-'80s. Let's go ahead and see if I can find info on the toys. Here we go. Transformerland has a collector's guide. Figures. Okay, so they look like they kind of look like robots. They look kind of like Transformers in a way, but like a mix between Transformers and G.I. Joe a little bit, which is kind of what Mask was. Maybe that's why this wasn't successful. There were only 5-6 figures released, some weapons, and that's it. Not much. I don't know if this is the entire toy line. If this is the entire toy line, then I imagine those are probably very expensive toys. It looks like we have Ace McCloud with Sky Knight. It looks like he just puts on some armor. You have Doc Terror, which looks like he has a human head and a robot head. You have Doom Drone Strafer, which kind of looks like a Transformer jet. And Doom Drone Traumatizer, which kind of looks like a robot version of Raphael from Ninja Turtles. These other ones look like just generic G.I. Joes with weird accessories. So I'm not seeing anything here. And then it looks like they've got some mech suits. They've got quite a few mech suits. So it looks like this was probably a mech toy line, which makes sense. Not bad looking toys. These are some pretty good looking mechs. I might pick up a couple of these. There's like 2 or 3 of the mechs look cool. I might look at that drone strafer. That looks pretty cool. That Raphael looking motherfucker, not so much. I'm gonna click on it and see if I can make the picture bigger. Oh yeah, it literally looks like a robot version of Raphael from Ninja Turtles. It is not a good looking toy. So let's see if I can find some information on the cartoon. I'm not finding much on the toy line. So let's go to Wikipedia and see what they tell me. Wikipedia, Centurions TV series. It's a sci-fi series produced by Ruby Spears and Nippon Sunrise Studio 7. Began as a 5-part miniseries and was followed with a 60-episode series, and then was canceled. The toys come from Kenner, which is interesting, and a comic book series by DC Comics. In the 21st century, the cyborg mad scientist Doc Terror seeks to conquer the Earth. Blah blah blah. Yeah, generic. It's no wonder it didn't last long. It's just another generic 80s cartoon. So just looking at I have no interest in the cartoon at all. But looking at the toys, there's about 5 or 6 toys from that toy line that if they're not like an outrageous fortune price to get my hands on, I might look at in the near future, because that's what I'm looking for, sci-fi and futuristic space stuff. And that definitely looks like sci-fi stuff. So this is the part where I ask you, viewer, did you ever watch the Centurions cartoon, and what are your memories? And also, did you ever own any of the Centurions toys? What were they like? Were they good quality? Do you still have them? And, would you recommend them to a toy collector that is not familiar with the property? So let's go ahead and get into the first topic of the episode. Why are Lego sets so goddamn expensive? I'm curious. Like, they're just little bricks of plastic. Legos cannot be that expensive to manufacture. I understand a lot of it has to do with licensing fees and royalties and all that shit. But if Hasbro and Mattel can produce fully articulated 6-inch licensed action figures for under $30 and NECA and these are big honking toys, why are little teeny tiny Legos so stinking expensive? I don't understand it. I think my estimation is maybe someone can offer me a logical explanation, but my assumption is it's just the brand. People will pay more for Lego because the brand, which doesn't make sense to me because in the 90s, Legos almost went out of business because people weren't paying for the brand. And it's not like there's a shortage of Legos because every toy store I go to, or department store, I should say, that has a toy aisle, has a whole aisle, but left and right side, the entire aisle devoted to Legos. On one side, you have the lesser, I would say lesser expensive, like your basic Legos, your Creator Series, your City Series, and then like your generic stuff like Marvel, Minecraft, Harry Potter, those kinds of things. And then on the other side, you got a whole green that are like $70, $80, $90 and up. A $70 Lego car that once assembled, according to the box, looks like and it's radio controlled. That's fucking ridiculous. Now, in my circle of friends, I only know one of my friends who's a toy collector who actually is into Lego collecting, and she tells me Legos, if you use like, Brick Finder websites. So I guess that's the way to go. I don't know. I don't understand why Legos are so expensive. The only excuse anyone can ever give me is, well, they got to pay for licensing, but so does everybody else. Those Minecraft toys are like $8 a pop, and they're considerably more expensive to produce than a Lego because they're a whole lot more plastic and moving parts. The tooling necessary to make an action necessary to make a Lego set, because it's literally the same bricks over and over and over and over and over. You're just repainting them. So you just produce, the machines were made back in like the 60s. They're still probably using the same goddamn machines in those factories. Maybe they update them as needed, but most of these Lego sets don't really have a lot of unique custom pieces. They just have like, some of them have more, but those are the same wedge pieces and moving parts that are used in all the sets. So again, they can't be that expensive to manufacture. So I cannot come up with a logical reason for why Legos are so stinking expensive. You should be able to buy the bucket, the big basic bucket. That should be $25. That should not, it's $50 everywhere I go. That is twice what it should be at the very least. Your $10 Lego City sets, priced. Those are fine. The $5 dollar store sets are reasonably priced, but not for what you get. You should get at least twice as many Legos in that box for what you get for $5. The Creator Series has some reasonably priced toys in the $10 to $15 range. Those are reasonably priced. Everything else is just $25 and up. That's too much money for a Lego set. The maximum a Lego set should be your clothes. Your like expensive Legos should be $60. Your regular Legos should be 15 to 25, and everything else should be under 10. There's no reason for Legos to be as expensive as they are. So that's why I do not collect Legos. I'll buy a set here or there. I'll buy at most maybe 2, maybe 3 Lego sets a year, and that's it, because I can't fucking afford it. Next topic. This one's going to be controversial, but hopefully people respond in the comments. The question is, if you're going to buy vintage, sealed, carded, boxed vintage collectibles, like classic Star Wars or G1 Transformers or, whatever, carded G.I. Joes from the 80s, A Real American Hero, or Masters of the Universe from the 80s. Is it ethical or is it acceptable to open them up once you've bought them? Or do you have a responsibility to the collector community to preserve those toys and keep them sealed if you buy them sealed? The only time I'll buy a sealed toy is if it's reasonably affordable, and I'm going to open it every time. I have opened on camera on this channel toys from the 80s and 90s, and all decades from there all the way up till today. I specifically seek out sealed Power of the Force toys from Star Wars Power of the Force 2. Absolutely sealed Power of the Force toys. And I open them up every stinking time. I bought a boxed, and I paid way too much money for it, Megazord from 1993. A boxed Megazord from 1993. And even though I paid way too much money for it, I opened it up anyways, and I've lost pieces. Considering how much fun I have gotten from playing with the Megazord set, I don't regret it. And pieces are going to get lost regardless. No matter how hard you try, pieces are going to get. So I do not believe you should give a shit about what other people think. If you buy a sealed Planet of the Apes action figure from 1960 whatever, and you paid, I don't know, $300 for it or whatever, if you want to open it, that's your business. That's your right. I think go for it. If you've got the money and that's what you want, go for it. People always say, oh, but it loses its value as soon as you open it. The value of a toy is how value. If you're only buying toys, I'm gonna throw shade. If you're only buying toys as an investment, same with video games or comic books, please get out of the hobby. No, please sell your shit and get the fuck out of the hobby. I don't need you in my hobby. Because you're the assholes that are driving up costs for the rest of us. Next topic, 3D printed and reproduction labels and parts. This includes like instruction booklets, stickers, bio cards, card backs, etc. So here's the thing. Okay, so let's go down the list. So we'll start with 3D printed accessories. Is it acceptable or ethical to buy 3D printed accessories that are replicas of original toys? Duke from A Real American Hero. He came with a lot of little bits and bobs. He's got guns and walkie-talkies and all kinds of shit. Trying to track down all those little bits and bobs, original pieces from eBay or other sources, is a nightmare. One, you got to find somebody who's willing to sell them, which means they have to part out their piece, their toy, which means you have sellers who get a complete toy and then part it out and sell the individual pieces piece by piece, which sucks because it makes it harder to get complete toys, because even when resellers get a complete toy, they still part it out anyways. They don't sell it as a complete toy because they can make more money doing that. So this is where 3D printed accessories come in, or reproduction accessories. Not necessarily knockoffs, but we'll get into that in a minute. Let's go back to G.I. Joe for a second. G.I. Joe, Masters of the Universe, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are 3 toy lines that I know about that sold accessory packs just as accessory packs. And getting those individual pieces, you're not going to know what you're getting. I think if it's a quality reproduction, if it looks like the same gun that he had it originally, and it's marked in the auction or the listing that it is a reproduction and it's priced fairly. Like, look, If you know Duke's gun is going for $25 and you 3D print a replica of that gun, you cannot sell the replica for $25. You have to sell that for like $7 or $8, or mark it up 20% above what it costs you to make it. You get a 20% markup. You don't get a 300% markup. Fuck you. So a lot of it comes down to the sellers. They have to be ethical. Now let's talk about labels, instruction books. We'll talk about instruction books and stickers. I am okay with buying reproduction stickers because your toys are going to lose. The stickers are going to fall off eventually, no matter how careful you are. With age, eventually the glue is just going to lose its adhesive and it's going to fall off. Or just playing with the toys, you're going to lose stickers. So I'm okay with buying reproduction stickers. I have no problem with that. Now, instruction books, I have a problem with. The instruction book are copyright protected. So you shouldn't be reprinting instruction books. Now let's talk about card backs. Again, you're getting into the artwork. The artwork on the card back is copyright protected. So you shouldn't be reprinting card backs. But let's talk about collectors who buy loose toys. They track down all the individual components. They buy individual opened card backs. Then they buy individual bubbles, and they reassemble the toy in its packaging, original packaging themselves, and seal it up for their collection. My question is, why the fuck would you do that? I mean, if you really desperately want the sealed toy, just buy the sealed toy. And if you can't afford it, then do without. People need to learn to do without. I cannot afford it. I do not have a 3DO because I cannot afford it. If I could, I would definitely have one. So those are my thoughts on reproduction parts and accessories. Let's move on to the next topic. The next topic, movies based on toys. Now, this goes back, at least live action movies goes back to the 80s. The first one is actually based on a board game, and this is Clue from the early 80s, starring Tim Curry and a whole bunch of people. I don't know the other people in it. I've only seen it like twice in my life. Maybe 3 times. I can't remember. It's not a bad movie. It's a fun movie. It's just not one I want to sit down and watch regularly. Partially because I want to preserve it. I don't want to oversaturate myself with it. I want to keep it fresh in my mind so that it is still enjoyable every time I watch it. Next, we have a lot who are based on toy lines. Of course, you've got from the 80s, you've got My Little Pony, you got Battle of the Rock Lords, you got G.I. Joe the movie, Transformers the movie, and a few others, Care Bears the movie. Those are based on toys. And then you got a lot of them in the 90s that look like they're based on toys because the toys are prolific, but they're actually based on comic books. So the toys are based on comic books. But those, I still think those still count, as far as toy collectors go. And then we've had a handful of live action toys starting in the 2000s and since then. We just had Barbie, which was a phenomenal movie, a massive success. I hope to God it gets a sequel, and at least I want Ken to get his own movie. I want Ryan Gosling's Ken to get his own movie. I desperately want that. I want that so bad. And I don't even care what the story is. I just want more Ryan Gosling as Ken. I just need that in my life. We've had 3 live action G.I. Joe movies. We had Rise of Cobra, Retaliation, and Snake Eyes, because Retaliation sucked balls, and Snake Eyes is my least favorite G.I. Joe character. Because he's just fucking silent. He's just a fucking ninja. Why? Why do people like Snake? I don't fucking understand why people like Snake Eyes. I don't understand it at all. I'll probably end up buying a Snake Eyes action figure just because the toy looks cool, but as a character, he sucks balls. There's no reason for Snake Eyes to be as popular as he is. But I've noticed a trend. The more I hate a character, the more everybody else loves him. like Wolverine. I fucking hate Wolverine. Deadpool, I can't fucking stand Deadpool. Everybody loves Deadpool. Everybody loves Wolverine. So I've come to terms with, if I hate something, everybody else is going to love it. If I love something, everybody else is going to hate it, and I'm okay with that. I fucking come to terms with it. I don't give a shit. We have had a shit ton, too many for me to count, live action Transformers movies. Some are good, some are mediocre, some are just fucking balls ass bad. The good ones, the 2007 one, pretty damn good, still holds up. Bumblebee, the best in the fucking franchise. The rest of them that I have seen, which I haven't even seen them all because the ones I've seen are like torture to watch. Dark of the Moon was okay, you know. The Revenge of the Fallen, I have mixed feelings for. I liked the first half of the movie, was pretty good. The second half of the movie was just like, what the fuck? It fell off a cliff. So I liked the, them, Sam and friends working with that little Decepticon and tracking down the Agent 7 or whatever his name is from the first movie, and then like investigating and doing their little detective Scooby-Doo storyline. I like that part of Revenge of the Fallen. The rest of it, once they get to, I don't know, Egypt or Iraq or wherever the fuck it is they went, I'm done. I'm tapping out. I've already turned the movie off. I've seen all I want to see from the movie. We've also had an obnoxiously bad Jim and the Holograms movie, which is not worth a shit. Don't waste your time. I tried to defend it, but then I watched it and I was like, never mind. And then we've had a bunch of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies. Again, hit or miss. The first one, fucking phenomenal. The second one, meh. I mean, I got nostalgia for it, but once I set aside the nostalgia, that movie sucks. The third one, fuck off. I have not seen the animated ones. I refuse because I don't watch cartoons, and I have no interest in them. The Michael Bay films, I have not seen, but it's not because people say they're rubbish and I'm like apprehensive. It's just they're not available on streaming, and I just haven't been in a point where I've been motivated enough to track them down because I want to watch them in order. I don't want to watch the second one and then the first one. And it seems like the second one is the one that pops up on streaming the most. And I guess the consensus is, from what I've read, is people like the second one better than the first one. But I still want to watch them both and make up my mind myself. We've also had a Battleship movie, which was, it wasn't that great. Allegedly, because of the success of Barbie, the Hollywood studios are scrambling to get some more live-action toy movies together. So hopefully we get some good ones. Maybe we can get a good Exo Squad movie. That would be fucking awesome. I think if James Cameron did an Exo Squad movie, fuck yeah, that would make $1 billion. Hell, fucking let George Lucas do it. I don't give a shit. Just not Steven Spielberg. Don't let him touch any of these toy properties. He can't. I like Spielberg's movies, but he does not make toyetic movies. I don't want a Spielberg movie based on a toy. I want toys based on Spielberg movies, but not the other way around. I just don't think he could pull it off. Plus, he's getting kind of old at this point. Well, so's Cameron at this point, I guess. Anyways, so are there good toy movies? Actually, yeah, there are some good ones. Are there some bad toy movies? Oh, fuck yeah. Some really raunchy ones. And I don't mean raunchy like R-rated comedy. I mean just like so obnoxious that you want to vomit when you're watching it. That would be G.I. Joe Retaliation. Fuck that movie. God, that movie sucks. All right, so that is every topic I have for this episode, for this stream. So for those who did join me today, thank you. For those who catch the stream later in a replay, thank you. Please like and subscribe. Share the link to Twitter if you don't mind, or whatever social media platform you use. I'm on Twitter at StephanieBree22. But, stay cool.